What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Littleroot Lessons, episode 297. I'm your host, Angelo, and I'm joined by the hardest working producer in Pokemon podcasting, Carl. How's it going, buddy?
It's good. It is cold in Missouri, if you are unaware. We went from, I think it was 70-something on Thursday, and the high today was 36.
That's gross. It's been today it was like a little on the warmerish side. It was high 50s today, but it's been pretty much like 40s, 50s. At this point, that's kind of just how it is once we get to the closer to the winter months in New England. And then it'll hit like 30 once we hit like December, like late December, January. It's like 30-ish. Sometimes it'll get colder, but recently, I think it was a year or two I was reading this, that pretty much with all the climate changes and everything, New England, because when I was growing up, New England was cold as hell. Now it's closer to like a little more like Pacific Northwest-ish in terms of it's a cold yet temperate-ish winter, which, I mean, I'm not complaining about not having. Like, I remember there were days where 2 straight weeks of 0 or below, and not having to deal with that's kind of nice. Not having to fear your pipes freezing every single day. Yeah, it's kind of nice to not have to deal with that. Or snow. We really haven't had a lot of snow, and I don't think we're expected to have a lot of snow again, which...
We are. It hasn't snowed yet this year, but we will definitely have snow sooner rather than later. It snowed in Chicago today. I know that much.
Okay.
So that's only a 8-hour drive.
Yeah, Midwest
mostly north, but
Midwest weather's so weird because it's like I feel like it's either scalding hot or it's cold as fuck, and there is nothing in between.
We have what we like to call winter, fall, spring, second winter, real spring that lasts for 3 days, and then early summer, stay inside, false fall, back to stay inside, kind of fall, and then now it's about October. Now is October, November is it back to winter. There is no spring. There is no real spring. There is no real fall.
That's miserable.
It's all just versions of fake whatever into don't do anything outside. It's a mess.
Yeah, no, and it feels like there's a lot of going back to things, which is what TPCI has been doing. We got our announcement, again, this is from last week, that we'll be playing Regulation F from December 1st all the way through March 30th, or 31st? 31st.
Yeah.
End of March.
It's the 31st.
Yeah.
Which, as far as I'm aware, there's no regionals or anything scheduled in December.
No regionals, no ICs, no global challenges. Today was the November Global Challenge. Usually we do stuff, but I don't think anyone can be damned to play Reg H right now.
Oh yeah, everybody's hopped off the bus. Yeah. You're either playing ZA or you're playing F. There's no playing H anymore.
Unless
you're actively going to Vegas or LAIC. You're not playing H. I know USPA's opened up. They're going to be, I think they're playing F.
We will be playing F for USPA, which those of you who don't know, USPA is a United States-based player draft league based on the actual region you live in. So it's like a Team New York versus a Team Massachusetts, so on and so forth.
It's kind of based on state or state regions,
yes.
If that makes sense.
I will be acting, this will be my second year as the manager of the current iteration of Team New England, which is Rhode Island, Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. So if you are in one of those 4 states and you don't already know who I am, hi, I'm Angelo. I can be your captain. Please try out. I had a few players that were like, "Oh, are we just running it back?" And I'm like, No, we missed playoffs last year. There's no running it back.
There's no running it back.
Everyone's trying out again. We have Massachusetts, who just won the entire thing last year. There is a bar that is set in my region that we have to hit, and playoffs is a bare minimum. So
I think Tapu Nani is the manager for the Missouri-Kansas region, which that encompasses Kansas City, mostly I think the east side of Kansas, And then Columbia, St. Louis, for the most part, is still on our side. Some of St. Louis, I think, gets dragged into the Illinois, etc. They that one gets kind of gray area. You can kind of, if you live on the Missouri side, you kind of apply for.
Oh no, we get all over. Like one of my players from last year, John Lyons, he lives in Massachusetts. Boy was born in New Hampshire though, and I'm like, come here.
I mean,
they didn't claim you. I did. And then of course like the student stuff. I'm lucky enough where a lot of talented Pokemon players decided to call Brown University their home, and if any other states try to take said players from me, and I quote, I will be on the first Amtrak to shank your ass. This is not a threat. This is just a promise. I no, do not come for my players.
I haven't decided if I want to sign up or not yet.
Yeah, I'm just so.
My big thing is I can't commit to anything time based right now. We don't know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, this is like
and whatnot. I might be doing other things.
Yeah, no, specifically for me, like if we were playing Champions, I would have signed up as a player manager. I'm just cool with managing. I have my co-manager in Chase who is able to definitely do both. It sounds like he's taking a break. I don't think he's gunning for a Worlds invite this year. So he said that he can go full throttle on USPA, because last year during the season, he was trying to help me manage and play. And also during this season, he had like 2 or 3 regionals, and then he had 2 regionals in EUIC during the USPA season. So it was a situation where he was like, I'd love to practice or like prep for this, but I can't be counter teaming someone when I need to learn the 6 Pokemon I need to use for this regional this week. And I'm like, fair. But yeah, it's if you haven't heard of it, I know it's on Twitter. Honestly, I will post some links on Blue Sky if you follow us on Blue Sky. If you follow me on Blue Sky,
they have a Discord server. I think there's a Google Doc with the rules and everything like that. And...
yeah, so if you want to play, what's really nice as well is it is like, yes, you do have to like quote unquote make your team, but it's not. I don't think it's as difficult as something like
some regions are easier to make than others. I will say that.
Yes, there are some.
Missouri, Kansas will be lucky if we have enough to have tryouts.
Well, that's why. So initially, we were just in our first season, we were a single team New England. Then it was initially, okay, well, there's so many players in Massachusetts alone, they can have their own team. And it became Massachusetts and the rest of New England. And then last year, there was a situation where they were looking at 31 teams. And they asked Caleb and I, Cable VGC, if we wanted to split to Connecticut having their own team, and then the rest of New England being the 4 remaining New England states. And we were able to pull it off both times. It was difficult for us because we were like, okay, well, they told us about this a week before. And I'm like, I need to figure out, because a lot of our players were Connecticut based. So I went in, I'm like, I have 4 people. I need to find like 8 of them now, which we did. And again, we did pretty well with that. I'm looking forward to actually like giving everyone a full tryout, knowing that there's this team to sign up for. And we've had recently a lot of very interesting Rhode Island players start playing, and I'm excited to see how they play. Love having new players from my home state. Support, like, figure things out and everything, so it's fun. So that was one of the other announcements. We didn't even plan on talking about this. The announcement that we did plan on talking about as well is we got DLC news.
Yeah,
and this is just going to be a quick one. So
it is pretty much TLDR. We got to see 2 new mega forms. We're getting more information on the 19th.
Yep. And we have a release date.
Comes out December 10th.
Yep. So one of the there's a lot of other things, and if we get time in one of the remaining weeks, we can go through this. We do have a lot of Reg F stuff to talk about, but the 2 main things to note is that we showed off Mega Chimecho and Megabax Caliber. Megabax Caliber stays the same type-wise, while Chimecho gains the Steel type when it Mega Evolves, turning into
I
the
hope
very
it keeps
formidable...
Levitate.
So that's the thing. So I think it's going to get one of two things are going to happen with Chimecho. It's either going to keep Levitate, which would be really good.
Yeah, like
Or
this is a situation where it's like the stat total is going to be kind of underwhelming, so it's like it really needs a good ability to be viable for anything outside of ZA.
I think what would be really cool is if they made, unless they're coming up with some special like signature steel type move, I think if they gave it a steel type equivalent of Liquid Voice. So, because Psychic Stab is already really cool, and one of the other things is that if it does lose Levitate, it does gain access to the ability to really size spam. But if you aren't going to the size spam route, like you have a lot of really good Psychic type attacks. The only Steel type attack you can hypothetically see it getting right now would just be Flash Cannon, which is cool, but it's always one of those attacks where we're not using it because it's actually good. We're using it because it's the best we got. If it could turn Hyper Voice into a spread steel
steel, that'd be
now
so
we are cooking. We are cooking. So I think that's what it would happen there. Bax is another Pokemon where like Thermal Exchange is just really, really, really good.
I don't know if they actually give this thing a different ability. Like Thermal Exchange is already a really good ability for it.
Yeah, and it's a pseudo already, so Omega's going to put it at 700 BST, unless they're dumping like 40 of it or whatever into special attack.
There's some they're going to dump some into special.
They're going to dump some, but like unless they dump an obnoxious amount into special attack, this thing's going to get statted out, and it's just going to. I mean, the question there would be: is the stat boost worth the Mega, or can you just run Baxcalibur and another Mega? And I think when you're talking about Pokemon like Mega Baxcalibur, that's going to be the balancing act when we do get to VGC on how you're going to play this Pokemon, the role it's going to play in your team, whether or not you're going to use the Mega or not.
The big issue with Baxcalibur has like in current like for our SV is like it kind of felt like it always just had like weird items situation. It's like you could play the loaded dice because you wanted to do scale shot, icicle spear things, or you play the clear amulet just to prevent intimidate. You don't really get to like your items always felt kind of mediocre at best on Baxcalibur. So I think just having the extra 100 base stats and going Mega Bax for VGC is probably going to be the better play most of the time. Yeah, we did see it gets better ice like physical ice coverage. It gets access to Ice Hammer in this game. That's not saying it's going to get Ice Hammer in the next game, in any future games, but that already makes like regular Baxcalibur much better, is having Ice Hammer over whatever other random ice moves it had before.
Yeah, no, it's just having its Ice Hammer. For those of you who don't know, now what does suck is that it still is a base 90 accuracy. So you're still missing that 100% accurate move, but the fact that you have a move that is 100 base power, stab, like that doesn't require you to run an item to get that 100 base power.
Yeah,
that would be really cool. One of the other things I did here is like, what if they give it skill link, so you get the Mega and you hypothetically get the loaded dice built in. I also think that could be really neat with Baxcalibur. Again, existing ability that doesn't really break it too much. I don't think. I think that would make it very good if it could Mega and also keep the ability to use these attacks like Scale Shot and Icicle Spear. We have a guest.
We do have a guest. Can you say hi, Amelia?
Amelia, this is important. Do you like the Chimecho or the Baxcalibur?
Which one do you like?
Which one? Which Raichu do you like? Which Raichu do you like?
Can you point? Which one do you like? You don't like any of them?
Ah.
No, I know what you like. You want this one.
What does you want?
It's Goomy.
Oh, it's Goomy. Goomy didn't. I don't think Goomy's getting a Mega.
We don't know that yet.
We don't know that yet.
You want Marshall too? For all the Animal Crossing lovers.
Yeah.
Hey, can you go back to Mama? No.
No. You want me to drive?
Yeah, keep driving.
Okay, so in general moment, I have to find the teams now. Okay, so with that all being said, we will get more information in 10 days. I'm assuming probably a couple new Mega Evolutions
Archal,
as
yeah.
well, and we are a month out. Currently, I still have not finished the story, so yeah, I have a lot of work to do before this game comes out.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Also, one other thing to note before we move on to the main topic: Baxcalibur will be it will be a ladder reward. The same, so that's going to be the season 4. So we're getting Delphox right now, which you can still get the Greninja. So you can right now get Greninja and Delphox's stone. Next month they will release Chestnut, and then the following season, Baxcalibur will be the main prize Mega Stone that you will be going after.
Which I think right now you just playing in a battle and doing doing anything in it gets you Greninjite, because the rank is rank Y for that one. And then I think if you win like one battle, you'll automatically be ready to get Delphox either at S. They've also like made the rank rewards better for the ladder.
Yeah,
so
they made a bottle
there's
caps.
There's been a lot of good.
Yeah, they made bottle caps easier to get. They made it so that you can never go negative in points, which apparently happened to Dad.
I couldn't lose a match to save my life. I never saw anything less than going up all the time.
Yeah, so I knew it was possible, but only one of us were able to pull it off. But yeah, it's very exciting. If you haven't gotten to the story, the other thing with the meta game in ZA as well is that the box legendaries Xerneas and Yveltal are legal, and also last thing before we move on. There is a Mega Diancie event right now. You can get the Diancie Knight, and you can get yourself a Diancie on Mystery Gift right now. Don't even have to wait for the DLC. You can do it right now. I suggest you probably beat the game because I saw that the Diancie's like level 70 or something.
It is level 70.
So right now it would just wreck me. But if you
the fight's not hard, but it is level 70. Being a Rocket Fairy type, if you got like a good Mawile,
yeah,
you can kind of just steamroll it. It's not a hard fight.
Yeah. So what are going to be some hard fights are going to be the fights that you'll be facing in Regulation F, and what better time is it than to do what we did to start Regulation H, which is look back at the teams that were very prominent in the latter days of Regulation F. And to start that, there's no other team to really talk about. Honestly, the defining 6 of the format, in my opinion, is this team right here, and this is Raging Bolt Balance. The team using the very classic Rillaboom, Urshifu, Incineroar, Firewater, Grass trio. Yes, folks, Incineroar is back. Get used to it. Using Landorus and Chien-Pao as very powerful offensive Pokemon. Landorus having the Life Orb Sheer Force, where Earth Power and Sludge Bomb are able to do massive amounts of damage, while Chien-Pao is your physical damage booster for the physical Water, Fire, Grass trio you see over here, along with itself, and also between the ground, the ice, and the poison type coverage that these two give you is very important for, really, I'd say, the star and the most defining piece of the entire format, which is Terra Fairy Leftovers Combine Raging Bolt. This Pokemon was initially developed by the Japanese. This was initially called Japanese Balance after dominating the first Regulation FGC, where combined Terra Fairy Raging Bolt is able to just sit on the field, boost itself up, heal itself up, and then fire off these priority thunderclaps, and anything that you're trying to like game around the thunderclap or whatever gets got with a Dragon Pulse.
Yeah. It's pretty much the quintessential essential. I have coverage for everything. It's player be player at that point.
My speed stat doesn't matter, or matters less because of the priority. It's like this is a team that you will see a lot of the best players at least start with. Honestly, I feel like it's one of the teams that's really been optimized in a lot of cases. There are a few tweaks, and we're going to quickly go through some different iterations of the Raging Bolt balance. But in the grand scheme of things, the mons that are consistent throughout are the Raging Bolt and the Fire Water Grass trio.
Yeah.
Just being able to do your fake out pivoting, parting shotting, Urshifu comes in, punches stuff, and then gets the hell out with your U-turn. You can't protect anymore because Urshifu's out. You can't click that
Urshifu
button.
is extra insurance to get around your like thunderclaps and things like that, because you don't want to protect in front of the Urshifu. If you don't have a move that's not protect, then you're liable to get thunderclapped. So it's just like, it's real hard. It puts a lot of pressure on opposing teams, but the format also kind of devolves into these four pretty much everywhere you go, and so it ends up being just a lot of rock paper scissors.
Yeah, no, it's and I will say this: sometimes when you're watching it on the surface level, could this be a boring mirror to watch? A lot of balance.
Oh, it is a lot of positioning and a lot of pivoting.
Yeah, if you're like me though, and you just get off on fake out, parting shot, U-turn, knock off into pivot into setup move. Yeah, you're going to love watching these mirrors. Now, for the other iterations of this team, we have two up. Of course, the first iteration we have here, this is when the Joshua Lorsey ran at Orlando Regionals. Instead of going and playing the Chien-Pao, using the Ogerpon Heartflame, adding it as another setup mon, and as a Grassy Glide duo with the Rillaboom. Now, this Ogerpon Heartflame Rillaboom like Grassy Glide spam duo was very popular at the start, of Regulation E, where you were able to.
You're going to see it a lot.
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah, you're going to be able to do a lot of balance stuff still with your Fire Water Grass. Your Heart Flame is able to be the fire and grass type, so you could bring these four up here. Not that you would leave Incineroar, but if there's ever a reason not to, you can bring these four and still have Water, Fire, Grass on your team, just with two mons. And one of the things is you're not running the Follow Me, but you are going and being like, this is my fire type, allowing Incineroar to run coverage instead of Flare Blitz. And this is my other boosting Pokemon, where I can go Sword Stance into Terra Fire. I'm +3 now. I'm fast. And I could also spam +3 Grassy Glides with Stab. And your Fergraph can't stop me because in that point. Well, if you Terra, it'll stop you. But before you Terra, you can Grassy Glide in front of a Fergraph. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's important.
The number of times I lost, which is only once, but one too many, where I made the play and the Heart Flame, and I'm like, oh yeah, Mold. I'm like, it has Mold Breaker.
Yeah.
Like, you always forget that the Ogerpons also just have disgusting regular abilities, along with their Terraform just having the ability that just boosts stats. Just crazy Pokemon. Absolutely love it. I miss this Pokemon so much. But yeah, the Ogerpon, that was something that we were seeing where people were just really indexing that. And another Pokemon that we saw, along with the Ogerpon on this team, was the Fluttermane as well. This is Tim Edwards' team that he used to finish in second place, I believe, at UIC. Tim, again, going with a tech move instead of Flare Blitz on the Incineroar, because he has the fire coverage on the Heart Flame. This Ogerpon Heart Flame is the Protect 3 attacks variant. So
aggressive one.
Yes. No Follow Me, no setup. The reason why you're running it this way is to have that ground coverage, because you drop the Landorus for the support Fluttermane. That's where your taunts from. You get speed control with Icy Wind, and then again, just Terra Fairy Moonblast is going to threaten the Raging Bolts that don't have the Calm Minds up and can't Terra, along with all of the other very dangerous fighting types in the game, and by that I mean Urshifu.
Yeah, I'm about to say, other fighting types, it's just Urshifu.
Yeah, well, there's two of them. We will talk about both today.
They are both weak to Fairy. So yes. Urshifu just solves the problem. It's just Urshifu.
Yeah. But yeah, in general, this is a very, very, very good team. If you're looking for just a good team where you can just express your skill, I think people have asked just newer members in the community who didn't play Regulation F, it's weird to think that it's been over like about a year. Oh, it's been about a year and a half since we've played the format.
Yeah.
What is Regulation F like compared to Regulation E? And I think Regulation H. And the biggest difference is like, I think that this skill ceiling and skill expression on the teams are just higher. I'm not saying that Regulation H is filled with bullshit or a bullshit format, but there's a lot of teams that in Reg H, the second you reintroduce just Fluttermane and Urshifu, all of a sudden a lot of those comps just become invalid. A Pokemon like Sneasler isn't as powerful because one of Sneasler's best traits is that it's the speed ceiling in Regulation H. It's
the Dragapult for a Sword and Shield.
Yeah,
that's the best way to put it.
Nope, it's not the speed ceiling anymore. There's a ton of stuff that outpaces you, and sure, you can run the Seed set, which has been very popular, but it just isn't as strong as it like that little feather in its cap it loses, along with the fact that it's fighting for the fighting spot in your team with Urshifu, which in a lot of ways just outclasses it in what it's offering your team. Flood all the dragons that are running around. Dragonite's going to disappear again because Fluttermane is available, and
well, not necessarily.
Not fully, but it's not
the Dragonite we're used to disappears.
Yes. The other Dragonite that we're
going to talk about next.
Version used to. It's
the next team.
It is on the next team.
It's literally the next team.
Yeah, it is the next team, so we can go there. I forgot that the Dragonite's there. I was so focused on the gouging.
Powknight. This is literally the stuff that I play with.
I'm so focused on the gouging plus Tingdozo though.
So Tinglu Dondozo makes a very good defensive core. One of the cool things about Tinglu is the Vessel of Ruin. We have an excuse to play all of our shinies now. Yay!
Mm-hmm.
It's just really hard to break through Tinglu and Dondozo on top of being able to make sure you have threats for the Powknight or the Golden Go. Gouging Fire here, I feel like, is more just kind of flexy. You can kind of swap this around. It doesn't really have to be a Gouging Fire every time. Gouging Fire just kind of plays really well with the Dondozo, with the Dragonite, with the Chien-Pao. Being able to use Howl to boost their attacks, and you get to deal more damage. Also acting as a somewhat Intimidate Mon with Breaking Swipe. There's a lot to like about Tinglu Dondozo outside of the people that really don't like these long, drawn-out game plans.
I mean, like, you can... Well, and I think that's a really fun part about this team, where you can go with that very slow Tingdozo mode to start the game, and then you're like, oh, well, let's be done here, and then you just go to your... You do the bump with Chien-Pao and D-Knight, and you're just like... Just E-Speed spam, boom, E-Speed spam, boom. I really like on this team you have the Scale Shot next to the Chien-Pao.
Yeah.
To do even more damage on this Pokemon, which is, again, really, really fun. I also think one of the other cool parts of this team is that between the Oblivious Dondozo... No, Oblivious blocks and...
Oblivious blocks Intimidate.
Yep, there we go. I was thinking the other one. Oblivious blocking Intimidate, Inner Focus blocking Intimidate. You're really able to deter or at least mitigate what the Incineroar is able to do into you. And of course, for the Pokemon that can be intimidated, namely the Chien-Pao and the Gouging Fire, what you're able to do with that is just click Howl to get your attack stat back up. And on the other side of it, where if you could lead like the Gouging Fire D-Knight Double Dragon lead, and you could just keep your +1s in the Dragonite where you aren't going and trying to go back to neutral, you're going +1 in order to get that speed up. Gouging in general is just a really cool Pokemon. There was a moment in, I'd say for about 2 or 3 months in New England VGC, you were either playing a Gouging Fire team or a Blood Moon Ursaluna team. That was literally the entire metagame for, I'd say 20 or 30 of us. Then we had a few people who were actually doing their own thing, and I mean, Stefan was just farming us, but that's besides the point.
The Gouging Fire's other big thing is it is your Amoonguss check.
Yes.
This team has a very big problem with Amoonguss, even with the Golden Go. It's like Golden Go can like kind of sit in front of the Amoonguss and deal with it, but the rest of your team really doesn't appreciate it too much being put to sleep and getting redirected around all the time. That's why part of like the Dondozo's thing is it is Terra Grass. We do have that heavy slam to make sure we deal some decent damage into opposing Amoonguss. But yeah, I believe the Heat Crash is a chance to OHKO at +1 against most Amoonguss, if not all.
I'm checking right now. So just using the Nerd of Now calculator, the 100 invest attack Jolly +1 Heat Crash is a guaranteed one-hit KO into the 244 156 bold Goldengo.
Oh.
So without the +1, you are doing 76 to 90%. So like if you're able to get a little chip on it, you'll pick up the KO. But once you get one howl off, you are always one-shotting Amoonguss, and in that sense, you're forcing the Terra there, which is really, really great.
Which is what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to force the Terra on the defensive Pokemon on the team. If their threats can't Terra away from their weaknesses, you get to really abuse the fact that you have very good coverage all across your entire team.
Yeah, especially like we know, and this is another thing. Just I wouldn't say a Reg H holdover, but we have seen the Specs Goldango in Reg H. It's just been popular. I'd say the entirety of Scarlet and Violet. We know how good and how much pressure just that Goldango puts out. Being able to click Specs Make It Rain or Specs Shadow Ball in this format as well, since you're Terra Fairy, you're able to run Specs Diagleam, where you can do your discount Miraidon impression of being a Terra Fairy type that just spams Diagleam, and now you have a spread type attack that doesn't drop your HP. I think that's just another really, really great tool that the Goldango has. That is something that we really haven't had explored in this format.
Trick is also good into this format with a lot of like the setup Raging Bolt, the Calm Minds, the Howls.
Give yourself a lefties.
Give yourself a lefties, and they're locked in the Calm Mind and have to switch. Give yourself an assault, whatever you want, whatever item you want to get. You stole a life orb, and you're locked them into Protect or something because they had clicked Protect the turn before, whatever. Like it's just like there's so many things that you can do with Trick on the Golden Go, with being able to give them specs and things like that.
Yeah, no, this is just again another really, really cool team. We saw different Gouging Fire teams throughout the course of the format. This was the last one that was really popping off, and I think that this is probably the starting point when we come back in a few weeks. The next thing we're going to share is, again, we're going to see a lot of balance in this format because, again, it's a very skill-intensive format, which means that you're going to see more so balances teams. This is the Wolfey Double Genie balance that he used to win Orlando Regionals. Again, a lot of similar aspects to a lot of the Raging Bolt balance teams we saw. The main difference is we're seeing the Fluttermane as a offensive Pokemon with the booster energy, double fairy coverage, and Shadow Ball. And we're also seeing a kind of offensive-ish Amoonguss, or offensive. The Sludge Bomb Amoonguss, for those of you who want a real deep dive into this team, Wolf did a full video, and I think the first hour is just team building.
Yeah.
The Sludge Bomb Amoonguss, though, was the overall crux of his team. And when you look at this format where we're just saying that the most prominent Pokemon in the format is a Terra Fairy Pokemon, having different ways to hit Fairy types is really, really, really useful. And it also just lets the Amoonguss be a more proactive member of the team. Is the Pollen Puff nice? Absolutely. But is clicking a stab Sludge Bomb a little better damage-wise? Absolutely. Like, you can easily chunk Pokemon such as Rillaboom, especially if it loses Assault Vest. Like, Sludge Bomb's doing 40-50% into it.
Yeah.
You go.
Most of the time for the Pollen Puff, the reason you play Pollen Puff is if you do have that setup Mon, that's going to stick around and hang around, and you want to keep it healthy and things like that. This version of balance definitely is less pivot focused. we are looking to do more things with like protect, doing well, substitute, speed control, things like that. There's That's part of why the sludge we start to see sludge bomb on Amoonguss is when pollen puff starts to not be as useful on your team. You swap to the poison move. You swap to make sure that you have a different coverage move on your team besides bug, which is probably one of the worst coverage damaging moves in the game. And so things like this very fast Scarf Urshifu, this non-sash Fluttermane, we have a substitute Landorus that's using Life Orb, so its HP would, while Pollen Puff would be good in that situation.
You get no Life Orb chip because of the sheer force.
Yeah, but it's just like things like that. It's just like you're looking at things like that. Your substitutes taking your HP away. Pollen Puff would be nice there usually, but if I remember correctly, Pollen Puff won't work through the substitute.
I don't believe so.
So it's like kind of a moot point. So you'd like have to be out of substitute, but you never really want to be out of substitute with your Landorus in this format. The big thing is it's like it hits the fairy types. It hits the Terra Fairy Raging Bolt. That doesn't really hit you for anything crazy. They're forced to Calm Mind like twice and then Dragon Pulse you, which if that's what they're going for, you just get to free Spore into them and then just hit them with Sludge Bomb. Yep.
And then the other thing with this team as well that's different from the other balanced teams is that you do have the direct speed control in the Tailwind on the Tornadus. You also have Rain Dance, which allows you to have some sort of weather control. Weather is not as dominant in this format as it was in Regulation H. I think that's the other major difference in it. But for the people who are running Sun teams or Psy Spam teams that have the Torkoal mode, Rain Dance being there to shut it off is important, and Rain Dance also goes and turns the Terra Water Scarf Urshifu.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's your Swords Dance on your Urshifu.
Yeah,
that's where your damage comes from, is from your Fluttermane, your Landorus, and your Urshifu. Like if you are not dealing big damage with those three, this team does not work.
Yeah. Now, moving on to another team that also uses the Sludge Bomb on Amoonguss. This is Nils Dunlop's EUIC winning team, and we do see a lot of initial similarities to the Wolfe Glick team with the Fire Water Grass trio of Scarf Urshifu, Incineroar, and Amoonguss, along with the Fluttermane, this one still being Photosynthesis, but going with Substitute over Dazzling Gleam. Again, just as another way to get around Spore. The main difference, though, is we're going with the slow mode. So instead of the double Genie, we're going with P2 Ursaluna, with the Terra Flying Porygon 2 to be able to sit next to the Ursaluna and as they spam Earthquakes. This overall is a comp that we would see developed even further in Regulation H. So it's like, I'd say this is a team that gave the grassroots.
This is the ancestor to
current
our P2 Doug Hug stuff.
Yep. One of the two ancestors of that team. But yes, it's Porygon 2, even in an Urshifu format, is insanely bulky. You also have the Terra Flying Terra Blast in order to punish not only the Urshifus, but also any of the other grass types.
And you also just have a Amoonguss sitting next to it. That's also fine.
Yeah, no, it's this is just a very, very dominant team. Going into a balancing with Trick Room always feels like a smart move in these formats. And again, Nils was able to use this 6 to win EUIC. There wasn't a lot of people exploring the Ursaluna with it after the fact. A lot of people felt like the Hisuian Ursaluna was more of a that's what I'm looking for. More of like a good meta call for that tournament.
Yeah, it was good for the spot, not necessarily for the whole. I'm kind of fine with that assumption. It didn't really do a whole lot more, if I remember right, past that event.
I'd say the big thing for me is I'm curious to see how how overall, just if it's a situation where we've seen P2 Ursa do so well in so many other formats, and I think even just going to our double restricted format where it wasn't the Porygon 2, it was Pokemon like Lunala playing it with the Ursaluna, that people have really fully started to understand the Ursaluna on four legs more than they did a year and a half ago. And that, like, I'd say, like, this is a 6. I'm looking forward to seeing if it's something that people start developing on come December, January.
Yeah.
Mostly because people are more focused on playing the Ursaluna with 2 legs as
the one that's upright.
Yeah, the upright one. The one I play, not the one that my friends play. This is this 6 here. This, I'd say, like, I'm showing this team more so because it did have a good finish in Orlando, and it is a relatively classic 6. However, it did kind of fall off. This is Blood Moon Ursaluna Fergaraf. You're using the classic Life Orb Terra Normal, Blood Moon Ursaluna next to Fergaraf, where you're able to set Trick Room, stop priority, so on and so forth. Usually, the Pokemon that would almost always come with these two are the Incineroar. In this case, it was the Clear Amulet variation. We've also seen the Assault Vest on this as well. The Ogerpon Wellspring, forming a Water Fire Grass with just the Incin and the Ogerpon. Ogerpon also acting as your redirection.
Yeah.
And the Fluttermane, as just your fast mode, another Pokemon that can put out immediate damage. Also something where if you weren't leading, like trying to go into Trick Room, going like Ogerpon for Rig, Incin for Rig. Ogerpon Flutter is my favorite lead in this format. I just love leading these two, especially with the Specs Flutter. You're able to put on so much immediate pressure with both of these Pokemon, both offensively and defensively, because of Ogerpon being able to play both sides of that coin, while the Fluttermane has an unbelievable typing, and again, it's Specs. This thing's hitting hard.
Yeah.
The 6th slot is usually what would change. Initially, it was a Pokemon such as Urshifu Single Strike, the Dark-type variant of Urshifu, but Dongun used the Raging Bolt. This is the modest Terra Electric, modest Terra Electric booster energy, where you're getting that special attack boost when it comes out, and you can really put on a lot of pressure as a really powerful electric type with the Raging Bolt. You also get the Thunderclap for priority, Electro Web as a spread speed control move, reminiscent of the Electro Web plus Blood Moon lead that we would see Electabuzz play, and Draco Meteor to just delete things from the face of the planet.
Fun fact, booster Draco Meteor picks up a lot of KOs.
Yeah. Actually, if you aren't Terra Fairy,
you're probably dead.
Good chance you're disappearing. Now, one of the things with this, the reason why initially it was the Dark Fu is because of the heavy special attack leaning aspect of the team. If you do let your opponent's Calm Mind Raging Bolt get a couple Calm Minds off, it's really difficult to get the damage off. One change I'm curious to see on this team is the Fergaraf dropping a move like Helping Hand or one of its 2 damaging moves for Roar as a way to phase out the boosting damage and try to make it so that, okay, well, if you're going to click Calm Mind, you're clicking it with like 2 Mons on the field, and I have you on the back foot.
Yeah.
That's, I think,
I don't know if that's exactly what you want to be doing, because even still, a Calm Mind lefties protect lefties, Calm Mind lefties protect lefties. Like, I don't know with how special your leaning your team is. That may not even be enough to break through it. So it might be a situation of just playing the Dark Fu might be better.
I was going to say one of the other things you could do in this spot is, especially if you aren't going to put the Assault Vest on the Incineroar, the Assault Vest on a Pokemon such as Iron Hands also works in this slot, as we see on the more common version, or at least the team that we saw more success of with Blood Moon Ursaluna Furrig. This is the Tail Room version. So you swap from an Ogerpon Wellspring to a Heart Flame Ogerpon here. Again, running a 3-attack Protect set.
Because you still need that ground coverage.
Yes. Iron Hands acts as your Fake Out Pokemon with the Clear Amulet on this team, being able to really play in that slow mode that Fergraph offers, while also just having a ton of natural bulk and damage where, sure, throw it in Tailwind, it'll outspeed your opponent's slower Pokemon, and just play well. The Tailwind on the Tornadus allows the the faster trained Ursaluna to really go off and to, again, like, play it more in kin to what we've seen in Regulation H with the Pokemon.
AKA where the Cocaine Bear name came from.
Yeah, that. No, my nose was a little sniffy there. What wasn't happenstance. And then, yes, here's the dark. No, we do that on Littleroot Lessons After Dark. That's not a thing, folks. I'm not. Clean. And then, yes, the Darkfu over here, as just a very, very powerful Stashmon that puts a lot of immediate pressure on these very offensive teams. The Darkfu always fits as a Pokemon that just breaks down cores, whether it's with the Stellar Close Combat, the Stellar Sucker Punch, or the Wicked Blow that just crits through everything. One of the other interesting things on this team is that we also have the Calm Mind on Fergraph. One of the issues with Fergraph is the fact that it can get pretty passive once you see
your damage output sucks.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's not doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Which is why it's like, okay, maybe I can run Roar as a tech. Maybe I can Helping Hand.
Which we saw Roar in Reg I as a very, like, that was a very common move to see on Fergraph going into the later stages of that. We talked about Helping Hand earlier. The Calm Mind is interesting because it kind of gives you set up as a way to, like, maybe break through certain things. Whereas we would kind of maybe see Throat Spray on very, very early versions of Fergraph doing like Hyper Voice or Psychic Voice things. This lets you play a different item and you can just use Calm Mind to set up. They can't stop you unless, like, there's no Fake Out, unless it's like a Mold Breaker Fake Out or something like that. Looking at you, Tinkaton.
I was going to say that's the only Mon that can do it.
We saw it a little bit in this format for that reason, but it never took off.
Yeah. Moving on, staying in the Trick Room with Darkfu, we have to talk about it.
It's Sunroom.
It's
super
Sunroom
slow
size
Sunroom.
This is Ben Grismer's Orlando team with the infamous Clear Amulet Hatterene.
Yeah.
Again, for those of you who don't know about this and now know, one of the ideas, or at least a play against Hatterene, is if you click, or really any Magic Bounce Pokemon, if you click Parting Shot into the Magic Bounce Pokemon, your Incineroar takes the stat loss, because that's what you're doing.
It could be a Grimmsnarl.
It could be, but it's not. And the Hatterene is the Pokemon that switches. So on very obvious, your Hatterene setting Trick Room, have fun in the back, you would go Parting Shot.
Yeah.
Now, Ben initially had the Clear Amulet on, allegedly for like Snarl and stuff like that. But one of the side effects is that no one was clicking Parting Shot into it. Clear Amulet doesn't stop the whole Parting Shot thing. You can Parting Shot into a Clear Amulet Hatterene and make the play as described before. It's just that since no one knew how it worked,
so
no one clicked it.
It's a layers thing if you've played other like card games and things like that. So it's people thought Clear Amulet was going to stop it because they see Clear Amulet stop it on other Pokemon all the time. However, Magic Bounce takes priority over the item, and so Magic Bounce would go first. And so it would bounce it, because Magic Bounce checks for any status move, not just status dropping and whatnot. And so it picks up the status, it picks up the Parting Shot, and uses it anyway.
One of the other cool things, I think it was in my Littleroot record interview with Zach Weed, he said that he almost pressed Parting Shot into when he played Ben at Orlando. He almost pressed Parting Shot into the hat, not to get the hat to switch, but he was expecting a manual switch into a sweeper and wanted to get ahead of nerfing the sweeper. And he just and Zach's like, but I felt like I was going to lose a turn if I did it. And now when me knowing like it didn't work, he's like, that was the safest play anyone could make. But Ben having that dumb item on his team sheet made me realize, like, made me think I'm not able to do this.
Yeah, and that's funny, but that's just like it comes down to people understanding the game and how the mechanics work. And now that we've seen it, people know about it.
Yes. Which I'd say this is one of the instances where I think like Leonard Kraft would be the only person to know this outside of Ben, who didn't even think of it as a thing.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't know how it worked. He was doing it for Snarl. And it was just a happenstance, and everyone else thinking, okay, this is Ben Grismer, longtime vet, very smart player. He's got to know what he's doing. Well, he did, and what he knew he was doing was no one else knew.
Yeah.
Outside of that, a lot of the stuff on this team is standard. The Urshifu is very standard for these hard trick room teams to just, again, give you a fast mode. And one of the things that, just typing wise, opposing steel types, opposing dark types, really opposing psychic types are pains in the butt, because a lot of your offense is going to be psychic offense.
Yep.
Urshifu deletes them all. Just
punches them. That's all he's got to do.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Also, another thing is that people love to protect to stall out trick room turns. You can't protect in front of it for Urshifu. You still get punched in the face, but like you can click the button.
I was like, you can click the button, you're still gonna get punched.
Yeah.
The other big thing is this Smeargle.
Yep. Yeah. This is like the first. I wouldn't say the first, because we were seeing it a little.
We saw it a little bit, but most of them weren't doing like the full blown like decorate redirection kind of thing yet. Most of them were just doing like the spore and the redirecting and the fake out, and then they just usually had like some other move. Usually it was like spiky shield or something to protect their sash or whatnot. This is where the decorate started to really like kind of take off, and decorate on your team of Torkoal, Hatterene, and Urshifu that all just want to just click the damage buttons is really, really good.
Yeah. Another thing to note for this team, the reason why you're running Technician, is you want to make sure that you have your speeds, like your speed tiers are very, very set.
Your speed is a very important number. You don't want Moody messing with that.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember his last name. Ryan, whose name is skipping on me. We ended up. He used a Smeargle for Rig Blood Moon team, like in the first Reg F regional, and Carter J and I were like, okay, well, why are you Technician? You don't run any damaging moves. And I was like, I think it's for speed. And I'm like, let me text Ryan to ask. Ryan Hebert. There we go. Ryan Hebert. And I said, I'm like, is this for this? And he said, yes, good job. And I'm like, thanks. I got a little sticker. Also, healing. Last thing to note is the healing wish on Indeedee. For those of you who don't know what that attack does, it knocks the user out, and the Pokemon that comes in with full health and no status. Ben wasn't even. I mean, of course, you can use this move to heal your Hat, your Urshifu, or your Torkoal to just get a second bar for that boss fight for your opponent. But in a lot of cases, it was literally just, well, Trick Room's up, did my job, bye.
I need a free switch. Let me bring in.
Yeah, I need a free switch. I have Torkoal, Hat with 4 turns of Trick Room. I can 3v4. And that's pretty much the idea with that.
Yeah.
Staying in the psychic terrain, we're going to our next team. This is the Iron Crown Regidrago team, piloted mostly by Justin Karras. This was the way that a lot of people were running Iron Crown last format, with the Indeedee as your Psy Spam option, and then you had your Hyper Offense with the Rain Dance Torn and the Urshifu, Ogerpon Heartflame completing your Fire Water Grass, and in this time providing Speed Control. And Regidrago, pretty much honestly more than anything, just being a team sheet check, and threat, pretty much forcing people to
forces
bring
people
their
to
fairies.
respect it. Yeah, like you gotta bring a fairy type, otherwise
you have to bring your Terra Fairy-mon.
like,
Even if you can get with a Pokemon like Regidrago on your team, you can pretty much force your opponent to bring certain mons. You never even have to bring the Regidrago.
Yeah, you don't even actually have to bring it. It's just being on the team sheet forces them to respect it, at least for one game.
But also, if they, and on the other hand, if they don't have a fairy type on their team, well, what's stopping you from clicking Tailwind's Dragon Energy? Yeah, just you can just go. And I think that's the other fun thing with this team. Like, you can just there is a world where this team wins in 2 turns because you can just go Tailwind Dragon Energy and I win.
Yeah,
and there's nothing you can do to stop me.
It is really, if you do not have a fairy type to eat those dragon energies, it is very hard to live those dragon energies. I do like the Iron Crown the Iron Crown teams were really, really cool. A lot of the times I felt like they suffered into more of the more balancey stuff with teams that have good terrain control, with like the Rillaboom and the Incineroar being able to pivot in and out. Because the one thing Iron Crown doesn't do great outside of once you Terra is you can't really hit an Incineroar. Which is why you see the Terra Water or sometimes a Terra Ground, Terra Blast to help deal with that thing. But if you end up forcing the Terra there, well, then you're kind of just dead to the Raging Bolt, and that kind of feels bad. So it ends up being this big rock, paper, scissors thing of, again, positioning is really important. Timing your Terra is very important. Knowing when to back out and when not to commit really hard is very, very important in this format.
Yeah. This is definitely a team, again, where it's, I'd say, a little on the older side. If you're tiering the teams, this is like the B tier team. Overall, it's a team that you shouldn't have. Like, you should know how to play into this. And if you are looking for a team that isn't just your set balance bros, like, you don't want to just be playing Incin, Amoonguss, Rilla, Mirrors, Raging Bolt, Mirrors all the time. I don't know why you wouldn't. It's how God intended us to play Pokemon. But if you don't want to do that, like, you can use some really neat Pokemon. Like, Iron Crown and Regidrago are just really, really, really cool legendary Pokemon that were overshadowed by the other Mons that came out with them, that they're siblings of the generation, whether it was Raging Bolt and Gouging Fire for Iron Crown, and then, of course, Gen 8 Regieleki. Regidrago was not seen at all in Generation 8. And that's also because Regidrago did not work well with the generational gimmick of Dynamax, but no, Dynamax actually works really, really well, and being able to change its type also really helps the Regidrago.
But that's the big thing, is being able to change your type.
So those are very, very cool team. I think if you're looking for something quirky to run, this is the quirky thing to run, especially if you like offense as well. Yeah. I know we have a lot of listeners who love playing offense. That
click the buttons, do the damage. Yeah. Very, very Carter-brained teams.
This would be a Carter.
This is a Carter-brained team. I'm going to click the buttons. I'm going to deal the damage.
Yeah. The last team is not a Carter brain team. This is an Angelo brain team. This is Iwafuchi Balance, which was the first time my group really got together and just learned a comp. I know we said that the actual P2 Ursa team was the forefather. I will only slightly push back and say this is even more of it. Because when you look at the best P2 ursaluna players of Reg H Part 1, them being June Littner and Tony, they were all playing this team in Reg F. 13th place Orlando Regionals with this 6, first developed by Scott Iwafuchi, who was an absolute dear to all of us, and just pretty much gave Keon the spark notes, like any question we had, why it was a certain spread, what was each Pokemon supposed to do in each matchup, just laid it all out for us. And June was able to pilot it to her first like absolute massive finish, that being 13th place at Orlando Regionals in 2024, which really got her over the edge to get that her first Worlds invite. When playing this team, the Porygon 2 is just working as your speed control. While there aren't any inherently slow Pokemon on the team, just due to the faster nature of the fact that your Fluttermanes, your Chien-Paos, your Scarf-Urshifus, your Goldango can actually work as a Trick Room Pokemon in this format. To go and play Incin, Amoonguss, Dingo, and P2. We're running no Protect on the Amoonguss because you really need all 4 attacks.
Yeah.
The Pollen Puff as a way to help your 2 setup Pokemon, that being the Nasty Plot on Goldango and the Dragon Dance on Roaring Moon. You also really need it so that the Sludge Bomb as, again, another way where the Amoonguss is able to be an active Pokemon. You can be in Trick Room with your Porygon 2 and your Amoonguss is not only just a threat with the Spore pressure, but also a damage threat if your opponent has a very important Fairy type, or just really any Pokemon that is weak to Poison. The Amoonguss is able to threaten it and pick up, like, again, do 35-45% into it, pick up a cheeky poison, turns it into a 2-hit KO.
Like, again, it's like, this is just like to make sure that you have a good answer into the Raging Bolt. That's everywhere.
Yeah. On the other side, your fast mode, you're running a very, very fast Landorus with the Sheer Force. Again, just Substitute is a really cool 4th move on the Pokemon. We've seen it a lot. It's just a general thing to help where you aren't going to be bothered by other Amoonguss' spores. Honestly, it's an unbelievable button to press in front of the Raging Bolt, especially if you are already committed to Terra Poison. By clicking the Substitute, that means that they can potentially miss their Thunderclap into you, and now you can safely Thunderclap because you're behind a Substitute. It also just gives you a move to help punish people who are trying to stall out the tail room, the Trick Room. We did too many tail room teams. People are
that was the other big thing about this format is tail room was very, very popular. Having both speed controls was very pivotal to making sure that you had prolonged success in this format.
Yep. But yeah, like, people are going to go double Protect in front of you on the last turn of Trick Room. Make sure that, like, their Chien-Pao and their Booster Flutter are safe. Well, I'm just going to Substitute in front of your double Protect, and now my Landorus is safe, and I'm going to take a KO next turn.
Yeah.
Roaring Moon's one of my favorite Pokemon in the entire generation. I just love playing it on balanced teams. After a Dragon Dance or 2, I believe it's... So this is a booster attack Roaring Moon.
I think most of the acrobatics ones were always booster attack, just so you could have the big damage.
So we were a little different. A lot of times you would see a lot of times the Roaring Moons would run like 244 HP, 252 adamant, and then 444 on the rest. And the reason why you did this is so that when you were intimidated, you still got the attack boost from your booster energy. If you did anything less after an intimidate, you would go and actually get a speed boost. The idea with this team is we wanted more speed into the Roaring Moon because of the fact that we felt where between our own Incineroar and the Landorus, and just like Amoonguss being the Terra Water Amoonguss being a redirection bot, we could, if you intimidate us, we could still get a Dragon Dance or 2 off. And now we're crazy fast, and we're also hitting you. Yeah. I believe it's at +1 on our Dragon Dance. We OHKO most Raging Bolts with knockoff before Terra, of course.
Terra, obviously, yeah.
And then I think at +1 or +2, if they do Terra, we OHKO with acrobatics. It's not the most like it's not a Pokemon that is like the most basic to use. It's not a normal Pokemon we see on these teams, but if you once you get used to using the Roaring Moon and the role it makes, I think it was like the last time I ever played in a House Cup as a player and not a manager. I was using this exact 6, and I actually I'll go back. I believe it was a set against Carter where I think I got him down. He got me down to like a 1v4, but it was just the Roaring Moon left, and I just swept. It's a Pokemon that has that comeback potential, or you just get it set up immediately and you just 4-0 with it instead.
Yeah.
This is just, for me, it's a special team because I feel like, personally, it's what led my group to figure out, like Dango, Incin, Amoonguss P2, like this 4 here does unbelievable things, and led to other iterations of let's go play with like a different ground type, that being Ursaluna instead of Landorus, because the Landorus was banned, and then all of the different flying and fighting types we put in the spot over the Roaring Moon as that physical Pokemon. It's just a really special team. If you want to play in this, like I'll say this is the team I'm probably going back to immediately in this format. Either this or like the Blood Moon balance stuff. I love it to death. It's just, again, important. Even though I never went to a regional with it, very important team, and one that you should at least try like a little bit.
I didn't play a lot in Reg F.
I played a good bit. That's the thing where it's I really did love this format. I think it was my favorite Generation 9 format. Yes, it's an Urshifu format, which sucks, and I love my formats without Urshifu, but there was, as you just saw today, we went over 9 team concepts. There's a lot of different teams you can play in this format. Yes, are they mostly based around the same 20 to 30 Pokemon? Yeah. Like, if we go through just real quick...
The format is very condensed.
There is one team that was not on my list, because it was one that we had last. I think this is where, again, we're showing some of the new aspects of the format. One of the cool things with going back to Regulation H was, with a year hindsight, was that we're able to figure out new things and new ways to play Pokemon that we really weren't able to. And one of these new Pokemon that people are really, really diving into is Okidogi.
Yay! I was about to be mad because I thought you were just cutting it for time.
No, I literally had my list, and I was like, oh yeah, there was this team. So this is the Sao Paulo regional winner. We didn't do a lot of coverage of this event because it was the last Regulation F event, like the last one. We were probably doing Reg G tier listing by that point. And this is a balanced team with the Raging Bolt, Firewater Grass. But one of the things that you're seeing here, first of all, is that the Rillaboom has switched to the Miracle Seed, an item that we saw it use a lot in the current iteration of Regulation H, because the Assault Vest is on Okidogi. Now, Carl, this is one of your favorite Pokemon. Why don't you tell the people like what Okidogi does?
Okidogi is a very, very bulky poison fighting type with decent coverage moves and one of probably the better anti-intimidate abilities in the game in Guard Dog. The big thing about Guard Dog is if you are intimidated, it instead of getting -1, you get a +1. Think of almost mini Defiant. Instead of getting the stat drop from Intimidate, you get a +1, but it only works against Intimidate. Between the coverage of knockoff, upper hand, and then you have things like poison jab and or gunk shot, and you have access to drain punch. Okidogi can quickly get out of hand based on forcing your opponent to pivot around your other threats in the form of Urshifu, this offensive Rillaboom, things like that. And if you get 1 or even 2 intimidates into this Okidogi, you can very, very quickly start to punish anything and everything sitting across from you that doesn't like poison, fighting, or dark. The other big thing is upper hand is very, very good
fake out
in this format because there is a lot of fake out. the fake out is one of the very, very popular, very, very best ways in regulation F to interact with what your opponent's doing, because it's a lot of setup and it's a lot of pivoting, and being able to fake out the other mon that stayed in while they're pivoting out their other fake out mon is very, very important. And so upper hand kind of puts that in a bind. It effectively is a fake out into their fake out.
So one of the really cool things, and this depends on what you're doing into, like, what the opposing instant spread is, but just I just plugged in the old reliable citrus, assuming you're 252 adamant on the Okidogi, which you probably will be. You're only a base 80 speed stat, so it's not like you're going to be jolly dumping into this Pokemon.
Nah, you are bulky boy.
Yeah, you want to be bulky, you want to put a lot in HP, and then just max out your attack. At +1, 252 adamant, upper hand is an 81% chance to one-hit KO the Nerd of Now, like the quote-unquote all-reliable bulky citrus instant set, which is 236 HP and 20 defense. Other instant sets, it's around the same for, like,
it's a really good chance to Oko.
Yeah, the 244-4. I think the only one, again, depending on how they spec it, like if they're really, really physically bulky, like this one over here, 228 HP, 188 impish on defense. It's a 75% to 88% like on the damage. You're not OKOing it, but you're doing a bare minimum 2/3 of its health.
Yeah, and like you're gonna proc that citrus berry if it's got it, and it's gonna,
and then you just drain punch right after.
Yeah, then you just drain punch and it's done. Like,
yeah,
it's not staying on the field. The other important aspect of Okidogi is you really want some kind of other recovery besides drain punch. You want Okidogi to sit on the field and be annoying as long as possible. In this team, we have the Cresselia with Lunar Blessing.
Along with the grassy,
along with the grassy terrain. The grassy terrain is definitely a help. It also helps, like, it reduces earthquake damage and things like that. Because one of the big things about Okidogi, you are a poison and fighting type. So while you're like, you got some decent resists, your weaknesses are usually fairly common: ground, flying, things like that. So you want to make sure that you have pretty decent answers or pretty decent ways of taking care of those Pokemon. Rillaboom, Raging Bolt, etc. Most of the time in E, Okidogi was doing like lefties bulk up stuff. This was the Annihilate before Annihilate started to take off. You would set up a bulk up or two, get a guard dog once because they want to intimidate everything else on your team, and then once you get one or two bulk ups off, you can just start drain punching everything, and you're dealing more damage than they're dealing to you, and you just heal everything right back up. In this situation, having the Assault Vest means we can't do bulk up, but we do get this Lunar Blessing to kind of help make sure we aren't burnt. We get to stay healthy this way. It's a good partner next to the Okidogi.
Yeah, I think one of the other things, like, even just going back to what the Okidogi can do, this Pokemon is a balance buster. Again, going back to why Sneasler's so good, is the typing's just really great at breaking through balance cores. Your fire, water, grass. Your fire type's always Incineroar. It's weak to fighting. Your grass type, weak to the poison.
Because it's almost
even
always
the first thing we're talking about. the Raging Bolt wants to click Terra Fairy. Because if their Raging Bolt isn't Terra Fairy and yours is, well, they can't touch you and you can one-shot them with Dragon Pulse.
Yeah.
Well, if they go Terra Fairy, you go and have this Poison Jab to really punish them. I believe it was in Justin Knox's server. At some point, I think he was running Okidogi, and he did mention that, like, he kind of wishes that it was Gunk Shot instead of Poison Jab.
I believe there are some rolls of Gunk Shot that Oko the Terra Fairy Raging Bolt.
Yeah, so I'm looking. I'm looking right now at a 188 HP, 132 defense. I'm not sure if that's the spread for. I'm just looking at the spread for the, like, whatever Nerd of Now gives. Once you're Terra Fairy.
Yeah, it's for 188 HP, 140 defense, modest. Raging Bolts, a Terra Fairy, it's 93 to 110% damage.
Yeah, which is a
with Gunk
62,
Shot.
and that's without any guard dog boosts, and that puts it at 62.5%, while Poison Jab, you're at most doing 75%. Now, if you do get the guard dog boost, you go to +1.
The Poison Jab then has like the same chance as Gunk Shot.
And the Gunk Shot will do 140 damage percent minimum. It won't if you Gunk Shot into it, it's not just only going to take it out, but when it's sent back in game 2, it only gets 60% of its HP. Imagine if it works that way.
If it only worked that way. But yeah, like obviously the downside of Gunk Shot is accuracy. If you are playing the more bulk up lefties like driven set that we used to see in E, that one you could get away with Gunk Shot. Because like you can protect and you can gain life HP back after the fact, and then you have another shot at going for it again. This one, if you miss Gunk Shot, you probably aren't getting another shot at Gunk Shot. So Poison Jab being a little bit more consistent is a better trade-off in this situation for this format.
Yeah. No, and then even just I think this is another really cool team. The Crest being an active Trick Room setter, whether it's, again, the Lunar Blessing, the Psychic Ice coverage, it's really great. This is an old head VGC player's dream of being able to just play Cresselia as Cresselia again, which is something that you really haven't been able to do with the Pokemon in 2 generations. I honestly, again, this is another team where I might try this out a little at a local. I just think it's really neat, and I think it's a cool way, again, of taking a Pokemon that was kind of a joke, or at least underwhelming, and figuring out, okay, the meta does this, this, and this. This Pokemon kind of fixes everything. It's not an A+ at everything. Sneasler is a better fighting and poison type. Urshifu's a better fighting.
There are better fighting types, and there are better poison
Assault
types.
Vest Pokemon.
And there's better Assault Vest Pokemon, probably.
There's better Intimidate deterrents. But none of those Pokemon can do all of it at the same time.
Yeah, none of those Pokemon fill all that role at the same time.
So, it's okay to be, a B Pokemon, which when we do our tier list, I'll probably put... Okidogi probably will be a B tier mon, and yeah, it's okay to just be a solid B at everything, because you just need it to be a.
I am interested in exploring Okidogi more now that the format's kind of been fleshed out a little bit. We see these balance cores a little bit better. This team in particular, you could have played the leftovers bulk up set and maybe done something different with the Cresselia slot, and still had that good. Have Okidogi be a balance breaker still with a bulk up set. Doesn't necessarily need the bulk up, but it could work. Terra type exploration probably works well with this Okidogi too. Grass is fine because Amoonguss is a problem, but you could also explore other Terra types on your Okidogi to kind of answer some problematic things. There's a lot to look into, I think, Okidogi. And it works well as a balance breaker for these balance teams. It's a mirror breaker, effectively.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it's just really neat. It was a nice little thing to finish the format on, and I think a good place for us to end on as we start back up with this format. And on that note, do we have anything else?
We talked about ZA DLC. We talked about events coming up. Vegas will be next week, which that episode might come out late depending on when Vegas gets done.
Yeah,
we're not going to wait up super duper late if Vegas is taking a little bit extra time, but we'll try to have it out on Monday as per usual. If not, it'll be out on Tuesday.
Yeah, we will let you know. And then also, just another thing to note is that in a few weeks we are approaching episode 300, and we don't know what we're going to do yet. But I don't
view the hundreds as a milestone anymore, because we've been through a couple hundred now. Now it's just the year. Every time we hit a new year, that's every time we hit episode 52 for that season, and then we move on to the next one.
Yeah. So maybe I wear a party hat.
There you go.
Who can say? And if we do decide to do something, it'll be announced in the Discord server. Actually, one other thing before we leave that is a very important announcement that was made in the Discord server. Carter is submitting his Blue Kaizo winning run to the Nuzzies. Now, for those of you who don't know about the Nuzzies, they're the Grammys of Nuzlocking. Now, we also got Grammy nominations this week. If you want to talk to me about that, DM me. I have so many thoughts. It's like it's my job or something. But yes, you're able to go. It's in the announcements. There is both the link for submissions and the link for of the clip that Carter is using, which again is the moment where he pops off to win his Blue Kaizo run, the first Blue Kaizo run to ever be won without using glitches, to win the champion fight. Some are saying it's the best run ever. I'm saying that.
I'm about to say, by some, do you mean you?
Yes. Another option is best run. Nominate him for best run as well. He's only going for best pop off. Nominate the clip.
The pop off was pretty good.
The pop off was unbelievable. But I'm gonna say it's the best run of the year, and the Nuzlocke nerds.
I think it'll be very hard to win best run of the year because there's been some pretty sick
did someone beat Run and Bun?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind then. Okay, so best pop off.
I'm about to say it's gonna be really hard to beat.
So best pop off. But yeah, the links and everything are in the announcements. Please vote. It means a lot to him. It means a lot to us as a community, but more so, it means a lot to him. This is a game that he focused on
for a very long time. He's playing it again right now. He's playing.
Yeah.
He's playing a new run through.
He wants to do it deathless.
Yeah, he's going for deathless, which is very hard.
Did anyone do that yet?
I don't think anybody's done deathless yet. I don't know.
Actually, no. Yeah, you're right. Because I'm thinking of it. I don't like. There was a point where he was almost like deathless champion, which also would have been a record because I don't think you're right, it's never been done deathless unless it was done this year, because I don't think anyone's done the Elite Four deathless.
Yeah, usually
Carter
he got through there's like one Sackmon in Elite Four for sure. Usually.
Yeah, I think he I know he got really far, one of the farthest. I don't think he lost his first Mon until Lance.
It was pretty far.
Yeah, like there was a point where we're talking about
he's got all of his notes. He gets to max out the DBs on on his Pokemon, the base stats. So everything's a 15. Otherwise this run would be impossible because you need perfect Pokemon to kind of do this kind of run for deathless. So there's some caveats to it. There's some PK Hex in the background, but it's still a really hard challenge, even with 15s across the board, because it's Gen 1.
Yeah.
You could Gen 1 miss, you could get crit because the Pokemon you're fighting is just got a stupid high speed stat. There's a lot of little things in this game that can just mess you up, and so this is no way a gimme for Carter. Even if it looks like it on paper.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, make sure to do that. Okay, so and stuff. All of these, everything we're going to do. We also, I believe, posted about it, or if we didn't, we will be posting about the announcements, or at least the nominations for the Nuzzies on our socials, such as Littleroot Lessons at Blue Sky, on our personal accounts, at Musical, at Mr. Missouri 25, and at Rose Tinted Cheeks. You can find the podcast on YouTube, which you're hopefully watching it on right now, or on one of the many podcatchers, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Comment what Pokemon you're excited to be using in Regulation H. Who are you excited to be back in the fold? Or are you just sitting around and waiting for champions to come out because you don't want to play with Urshifu? Honestly, don't blame you.
I'm honestly probably just going to stick to playing ZA.
I have locals, so I'll be doing both.
I got a lot of things on ZA I need to get done still. So
also same. But yeah, that is definitely a good thing to do. Just again, play ZA, play Regulation F. Tell us what your plan is, and in the comments. And yeah, we will see you in a week with Vegas coverage.
Bye.
Bye.